AC on in your place? What are you, nuts with how hot it's been?
I mean, it was tolerable up until about a minute ago, and I don't know. I guess I wanted to save money on power. Fucking Disney won't allow people to use dollar passes at Marcus, so I had to pay full price for my movie this morning.
Ugh. Did you go see Inside Out?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was thinking, I should just try to see it on $5 Tuesday, but I didn't pre-order my ticket. And, I didn't particularly want to watch that movie surrounded by loud and sweaty children, so I saw a matinee today.
You know, that's fair.
Good movie, though.
That's good.
It's a shame that Disney's comprised of pricks. Am I recording yet? Oh, I am. I'm glad that I recorded myself saying that.
Well, at least they can actually make something good, unlike, Star Wars Acolyte, where, watch the 4th episode and God is a piece of dog shit.
I have heard nothing good about the Acolyte.
Oh, it's so bad. It's like the writing is bad. Almost none of the actors are really blowing me away with any performances or whatever. Some are okay, but a lot of them are just feel meh. Just pretty eh. But it's I can get past the acting most of the times, but it's just the story is so bad. The writing is so bad. It's just not good.
You know what I find the funniest thing? We kind of discussed this on Monday, but it's really hilarious that Billy, but that Disney's whole thing is oh yeah, we bought Marvel, we bought Star Wars, and everyone thought they're going to focus more on Star Wars and live action movies and Marvel from now on, and now that they've kind of fucked up both Star Wars and Marvel. Everyone, the only thing that people are looking forward to are their new animated movies.
Yeah, the Pixar films, because people still believe in Pixar because they still make good movies.
They can. It's just that Disney sucks and doesn't pay their voice actors or their animators correctly.
Yeah, that too. So there is that thing.
I mean, they gotta subsidize their the costs of the live action shit that's losing so much money.
Exactly. And we can't be losing money even though we're fucking Disney and we bring in a fucking bajillion dollars every day.
I don't know, man. They've been wasting money on a lot of really stupid shit. I mean, I get that's their own fault, but
yeah, I know it's their own fault. And guess what? If they don't want to be losing a bunch of money, then fucking get that shit under wraps or whatever, rather than just upcharging everything.
Is this just a generation of really shitty CEOs making really irrational bullshit decisions?
I mean, I look at it as more of just we're big corporations, let's blow away money. Oh, wait, that didn't make money, so guess what? We're going to upsell everything. Oh, we're just making tons of money by doing this? Well, let's just keep doing it then, even if it's, wasn't the whole plan.
It just feels
That's how I look
it's so
at it.
similar. I guess so. It just feels so similar to what's going on over at Microsoft. It's the higher-ups did something stupid. They wasted a lot of money on stupid shit that they didn't need and is not making any kind of return for them. So we got to cut costs elsewhere, and we have to fuck everybody else over.
Yeah, why be accountable for your own actions? Why not just blame it on somebody else or make it somebody else's problem?
Not pay our people correctly while making $50-60 million a year.
Yep, but we got to make the shareholders happy. Right.
So lower your own fucking salary a little bit. I could never imagine what I would do with $50 million.
Dude, I couldn't even fathom having that much money.
No, it's what do you even do with that?
Sit on it if I had that much money, I'd fucking take it all in gold and sit on it like I'm Smaug, like I'm a dragon, and just sit on my hoard all day long.
Like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have,
go bathe in money.
I mean, I agree. I just buy a decent house by a ocean or a lake and retire forever. Fuck it. You don't need to work ever again with that kind of money.
Yeah, I was that's what I do. I just go fuck off somewhere or whatever, and just go like have a small place or whatever, and just like I don't know, play video games the rest of my life. I don't give a fuck.
But then we have these CEOs and like these investors that are like, I need to make millions and billions of dollars every single year, and spend it on what? I just don't get it, dude.
Or you can be the people that whenever you call out like the big CEOs or whatever making billions of dollars or whatever, and you get the random people on the internet that aren't billionaires or millionaires, and going and just saying it's like, oh, you can't blame the CEOs for making money or anything like that, and like being a business person. And it's like, why are you defending them? Well, that's because one day I'll be that. And I'm like, no, you're not. What the fuck kind of fantasy are you living?
Yeah, because they have all these like finance bros and all these like pseudo intellectuals being like, I'm going to make millions just the way that Andrew Tate told me to.
Exactly. I'm going to be an alpha male just like him.
All I need to do is buy his $10,000 course. It's so simple.
Uh-huh.
It's all going to work itself out.
Yep. It'll 100% work out. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to go tan my balls. And so I can up my testosterone, and then
my wife might be leaving with the kids now, but one day she'll see.
Exactly. Anyway, that was a conversation.
I guess so.
Hello and welcome to whatever the hell this just was, because I don't know what the hell that was all about, but it happened. But yeah, this is the It Never Ends podcast. I'm Andrew. Over there's my good buddy Alex. How you doing today?
I'm okay, all things considered.
Very nice. How about yourself? I'm doing pretty good. So, on top of our just random BSing about alpha males, I guess, I don't know. Whatever.
Rich people suck. Let's move on.
Exactly. Moving on from that is like there was a Nintendo Direct that happened over that, and it was a pretty decent one, I would say. It got some good stuff in it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I was not okay. I'll save the big one for the end. But what all was at the Direct aside from like the main stuff that everyone was talking about?
I mean, it was like the Mario and Luigi's like brothership or whatever. Like, that one looked like it was like almost like a 2D platformer with like Super Mario RPG elements in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some people are not going to like me saying this. I think it has a really good art style. It looks like an upscaled 3DS game, though.
I mean, yeah, it does. I agree with you 100%. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought it looks good. It does. I'm excited for that.
I wonder if it'll be one of those games. Well, do you think like Nintendo would ever make like a game where it's like kind of like A Way Out where you have to play co-op?
Probably not.
I would think probably not. Like, you could have another person in there or whatever, but it's like if you don't, then it's probably just gonna put like an AI partner or whatever for like Luigi or whatever.
Well, like it would be cool, but that is just such a niche, I think.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't think they'd ever do it. But I don't know, that'd be kind of interesting if they did. I was like, oh, but you ready for that? You ready for that Nintendo Switch Sports basketball, baby?
No, I have no idea why they're even doing that.
Because it was in like the Wii Sports Resort, I think.
Before last week, I didn't even know that Nintendo Switch Sports was a thing.
Yep.
Like I saw this video while scrolling through YouTube, like why Nintendo Switch Sports failed, and it's like they made Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yep, they did.
What the fuck for? Okay.
Because they could. Because the game that they gave out with every Switch or every Wii was just that good, or just that entertaining.
Did you see it's a free update? So
yeah.
Cool.
Did you see the Mio Memories in Orbit game?
No.
It was like a little like indie game. It looks like, but it almost kind of looks like a combination of like Ori and the Blind Forest meets like. I mean, I always looked at it as kind of just like a Ori type of game. 'Cause it looks like it's like a platformer with like Metroidvania almost things or whatever, like kind of puzzly.
Oh, here it is. Let's see.
Yeah, I thought it looked interesting. It's like
Okay.
different, something. because it has like boss fight. It has like boss fights like you'd see in like Silk or like Hollow Knight or whatever, but it also has like the kind of like the platformy style that like Ori had.
So, hey, speaking of Hollow Knight,
Yeah, nothing there.
Yeah, I'm convinced that game is not real. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's fake.
It was way too early to announce it pretty much, and that's what happened.
It is never coming out.
I'm holding out hope. Don't do this.
The dream is dead.
No, it's not.
It is never going to come out.
You can't prove that.
It's been what, almost 5 years since we've seen the game last?
Maybe. It probably has been about that long, honestly.
And we've gotten nothing, not even like a written update on it, being like, okay, it'll come out. At least a sign that they're still working on it. I'm sure they're still working on it. Actually, no, I'm not, because it's not real. It's fake.
I mean, I'm sure they're working on it. I just don't. Who knows when that will ever happen?
It's fake. It's a social experiment.
No, that's what Death Stranding was in my mind for the longest time.
That's just a social experiment.
Yeah. Turns out the game never did come out. It was just all in your head.
Silksong is an experiment in how long a single company can cuck us. It's like, how long are we going to be kept waiting in suspense before we all go crazy and demanding Silksong on the streets?
I mean, there's already a lot of people that are doing that, so don't even worry about that.
Good, experiment over.
Exactly.
We're going to be on the PS6 before we hear anything else about that game.
Yeah, potentially. Hopefully not.
There's a lot of, like, HD remasters in this, this Nintendo Direct. It's like we're getting Stray, I guess. There's, new Donkey Kong remake apparently coming, and
yeah, which is just the one that was on like the I forget if it was the Wii or the Wii U one.
It was the Wii.
So I thought it was.
Tropical Freeze was the Wii U one.
That's
right. Already on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like we got the Dragon Quest games.
Dude, I'm so excited for those Dragon Quest games because I wasn't sure if like Dragon Quest 3 was actually like, if like that like remake was actually happening or not. So I was like seeing it was actually really cool. Apparently, we're also getting remakes of 1 and 2 as well.
The one that everyone was freaking out about was the Marvel vs. Capcom collection.
Yeah, I mean, I see why, I guess, but...
Yeah. Wait, they actually announced a Hello Kitty game?
Yeah.
How the hell did I miss that?
That's a good question. How did you miss that? It's basically just like... I liked how it's a timed exclusive as well. They even said that in the middle of it. And it's like, oh yeah, and this timed exclusive... Fucking what? timed exclusive Hello Kitty game?
Is it just like Animal Crossing, but with Hello Kitty characters?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, Ariel's gonna love this.
Yeah. They announced a new Mario Party, the Mario Party Jamboree.
Okay.
According to the biggest Mario Party thing, and I was just like, okay, sure.
Dude, let's move on to the game that everyone's looking forward to. Okay.
Legend of Link.
Funko Fusion.
Yeah, definitely that game. I definitely forgot about.
You just kind of blocked it out of your subconscious.
Yeah, it sort of just like went in one ear and then out the other, and then I just totally forgot it existed. Good.
It's where it belongs.
But you can play as Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's.
No one cares. In the trailer, they had a game model clipping through the environment. Yeah. It's going to be a piece of shit. Okay, moving on. What would you want to talk about? Oh yeah, the new Legend of Zelda game that's coming out. That looks pretty neat.
I'm sorry, it's called The Legend of Link. Get it right, bro.
The Legend of Link.
Exactly.
You play Zelda.
You play as Zelda. Now you don't even play as Link in this one. I don't know.
Yeah,
That was
it's a
definitely
game.
different. I wasn't expecting a Legend of Zelda game that where you play as Zelda. So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
It's in the. It's not in like Breath of the Wild style either. It's
No, it's
in that
not.
It's in that one like Link's Awakening
Yeah.
graphics. So that's pretty neat.
I like how I don't know. It's just like for when it comes to like it's like oh it's like everyone can play everything so differently or whatever depending on how you play because every echo can be used anytime. So it's like it's almost like everyone gets a unique gameplay style, and I just go yeah, but I also feel like there's solutions to everything as well.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. If you find how to fucking like beat Ganon or whoever the fuck the final boss is with the game or whatever, with like I don't know the chicken, good on you, I guess. Somebody will do that, right?
Well, that's how I want to play the game now.
Just once you get some of the chicken, just continue to do that all the time. I guess this probably means that they're probably not doing like a I don't know, like I don't know. I mean, granted, Nintendo doesn't really DLC or whatever, but they're not doing like a expansion or DLC for like Tears of the Kingdom, then, huh?
Probably not.
They're not really known for doing that, so I was like, that didn't surprise me in the least.
I think what they're moving on in that regard is just the next full like Zelda game, because like, do you think they're still gonna announce the Nintendo Switch 2 this year? Or is it going to be next year, do you think?
I mean, supposedly it's supposed to. They're going to announce at some point this year.
And then it's going to release in like November. I heard that through like a rumor mill or something.
I was like, it's like less than 5 months away.
That's the reason why it's like, I've heard people say that's when it's coming out, which makes no sense to me because like why would they not just announce it here then?
Yeah, I was like, if they're really planning on the Switch 2 or whatever, it's just like, why would they not just announce it here then?
You see, like, I don't think it's coming out this year. I'm going to throw that out here. I do not think that they're going to come out of the blue in like July or August or whatever and be like, oh yeah, it exists and it comes out in 2 or 3 months. I do not see Nintendo.
Yeah, I really can't see that happening.
So what I think is next year's big direct, they're like E3 or whatever. I think that's when they're going to announce it, and it'll come by like next year.
Well, you don't. I was like, you don't think they wouldn't maybe announce it in November and then have it come out like Easter or whatever? Like, what would that be, like March or something?
No, I think they would want it for the holiday season. I suppose they could do that. Imagine they announced it at like the Game Awards or something.
Yeah, or like some like November or October thing or something.
They actually showed Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. Who would have thought that?
I very much wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I feel like that a lot of people weren't expecting that one.
It's another game I just kind of assumed no longer existed.
That's true. Because wasn't it after like Metroid Dread or whatever they said that like they had to like redo Metroid Prime 4 or something like that, or was that there was just like the rumors or something?
No, I'm pretty sure they came out and said that they weren't satisfied with how things were going and they decided to reboot it. Which makes some sense.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I think it looks alright. I think it's a little silly that it took this long to get it to another Metroid Prime game.
Yeah. I mean, when was the last Metroid Prime game?
The last one came out on the Wii.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
I mean, if we're not counting the other M, which who does?
Right.
The last one was Metroid Prime 3, which came out 2007.
Yeah, that's good. That's like this is a good amount of time.
You know what really confuses me? Did we get the Metroid Prime HD collection on Switch?
I thought we did. Didn't that happen a while back?
I think we got like a remake of the first Metroid Prime.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But why would they not just release like the other two then?
So they can do the other two on a later date.
That's so obnoxious. Yeah, they did create the Metroid Prime trilogy, but it's on the Wii and not on Switch. Yeah, the Switch one is just the first game remastered.
Yeah, you know.
What a load of shit.
I mean, it's like people continually asking for like, why can't we put all of Legend of Zelda's on the Switch or whatever? It's like, why can't we put Wind Waker on there and stuff?
They're just waiting so they can charge you more money.
Exactly.
And I absolutely despise that.
They're waiting to see. That'll be when they announce the Switch 2. They'll also go, and coming to the Nintendo Switch, not the Switch 2, the Nintendo Switch is Wind Waker. Cool. So what can we play on the Switch 2? Nothing. What?
It's like actually releasing a remake of the GBA game Mario vs. Donkey Kong and then charging $60 for it. Oh wait, they did that. Oh well, surely they wouldn't do that again with a game like Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which came out on, the GameCube and looks the exact fucking same.
Surely they wouldn't.
Oh wait.
Do that. Yeah.
Nintendo, man, they get away with a lot of shit that people give shit to other companies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just like you can bring it up 1,000 times over, and it's just like it's just people. It's like, well, it's Nintendo or whatever. It's not like Microsoft or whatever, and they go,
yeah.
But they're one of the major game companies or whatever. They have their own console that they sell a lot of. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nintendo just exists in a different fucking reality, dude.
Pretty much, yeah. It's why people oftentimes call them the Disney of video games. It's just like they can do no wrong in some people's minds, and even though they're absolutely just can be the greediest motherfuckers alive.
That is sadly a really appropriate comparison.
Yeah. It's like I will say that until the day it stops being true or whatever. But it's like, man, they really just do really like release like HD remakes and stuff like that, charging the exact same price of like a modern day AAA game or whatever. It's like, they'll like you just said, it's like they've charged $60 for Paper Mario or whatever,
a GBA game
and stuff like that, and you go. And you're just like, well, surely this should only cost like, I don't know, maybe $20. No, it's $60. Huh? What?
I swear I bought that game for like $30 new when I was a kid.
What?
I remember buying that game at Toys R Us.
Yep.
It was a good day that day.
Yeah. That's why it's just like you look at this and it's just like, oh, it's like, I don't know, because they make something new, and I'm like, cool. Stop buying their shit so they can actually make new stuff.
Hey, they are making Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that, and then the Legend of Link game. And just about any of that is like it's third party and a lot of just other like HD remakes and stuff like that.
Man, I don't know, dude. People hyped this direct as if it was like the hottest shit on the planet, and it's like they had some good stuff.
There was some good stuff that like people were looking forward to, and then there was other shit that were just like, okay, this game already exists, and now it's coming off the Switch. Okay, convince me why I should buy. I was like, don't get me wrong, I love Darkest Dungeon 2. Why would I want to buy that on the Switch?
Who gives a fuck about Nintendo Switch Sports?
It's like I like how and then there's just like, oh yeah, let's like. And like, well, Luigi's Mansion 2 now. Cool.
A 3DS game.
Yeah. But, dude, they should have called the Looney Tunes, like, Wacky World of Sports. They should have just called it Looney Tunes Space Jam.
I'm not sure why they didn't. Oh, what other sports do they have aside from basketball?
I don't know. It's just the main one.
I just remember them seeing them play basketball.
I mean, that's pretty much all they did. That's why it's like, oh, is Space Jam? Well, there's like tennis or whatever, and it's just like all these other things, and I just go, you still could have called it Space Jam, and it would have been just fine.
Yeah. Could have had an actually decent campaign mode that way.
Right.
Oh, no, wait, they would have had to put actual effort into it that way.
Yeah, that's true. They would have had to do that.
And, holy cow, this game looks super shitty.
Oh, yeah, it looks like ass, too.
Like, this looks like something you'd see on the GameCube.
Like that looks like it's still in like the alpha stage of creating like like these are just like the rough particles they're working with until like the art is actually done.
Yeah. It looks like a terrible licensed GameCube game.
Pretty much.
What the fuck, dude?
But multiverses, right? Multiverses. Got to play that multiverses.
No, absolutely not.
The game they re-released.
And they has even more egregious microtransactions than it did before.
Wow, who would have thought that?
Didn't I see a thing where they're charging like $10 per character, or you need to grind for like 20 hours to get a single new fighter or some bullshit?
I don't know. Probably.
At that point, I don't even care if it's free to play. That's some fucking bullshit.
Oh yeah, it's dumb. Why do people play this game? I quickly just looked at the Steam charts or whatever, and it says there's 10,000 people playing the game. What the fuck? Who the fuck are these people playing this?
I think it's just because it's a platform fighter on PC.
Who are you people? Stop. Stop. Don't let him get away with it. Stop. Please. I beg of you.
Hey, the Switch is getting Darkest Dungeon too. So that's fun.
That's cool. For anyone that... Because people still have the fucking vendetta with... I mean, granted, it's on Steam now, but it's like people had the... Continue to have the vendetta against like Epic Game Store or any other like... I don't know, storefronts or whatever, and it's like, everything's got to be on Steam. And I go, why?
Well, isn't Darkest Dungeon 2 on Steam now?
It is.
I was going to say, I thought it's been on Steam for a while.
It has, but it's just like when it originally came out, when the early access first came out or whatever, it's like it was only on Epic Game Store or whatever, and it's like people had a fucking tissy fit with that for no reason whatsoever.
I mean, it's just the old discussion of like the Epic Game Store and like buying exclusives for PC. We talked about it quite a bit on how like PC gamers just don't want to download a new launcher, which I can understand how it's frustrating, but it's it's whatever. It's like they're indie devs. This is one of the ways that they can make money. Fucking deal with it.
Well, it's that, and then it's just like. It's just like I always hear those arguments like, oh, I want all my games in one spot or whatever, but it's like then I go to the whole like argument. It's just like, all right, so why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we hold the same thing for streaming services as well? Why does everyone continue to pay for like Netflix and Amazon and Max and Peacock or whatever the fuck? I don't know. It's just like everyone's just okay with having about 1,000 of those. Hulu, whatever, Disney Plus. And they go, why can't you just have them all in one streaming service or whatever? And I go...
Because that's not how the economy works.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if that was how the economy works.
Wouldn't it?
I think everyone would like it better if that's how the economy would work.
Yeah.
But it's very much not.
It's like I get not wanting to like. It's like you can prioritize one as like, oh, it's like this is where I'll buy like a majority of the games or whatever, if it's Steam or whatever. But it's like if a game that you're really excited for comes out and it's like, oh yeah, exclusively on the Epic Game Store or whatever, it's just like, oh, I refuse to buy it or whatever and stuff like that, and I'll fucking downrate it and everything like that, talk mad shit about it, even though like when it comes out for Steam, it'll be fine.
You see, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit
because it's not like it's a fucking like it's on a console that you don't have. It's on a launcher that you don't prefer. Be a fucking adult about it. Just download it, dude. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. It's just like I remember when that was partially the reason why I think Hades took so long for it to gain like traction as well. It's like Hades released for the Epic Game Store exclusively, like in the early access, like years and years and years ago. And it was just like, because I remember seeing it during, I think it was like 2017 or something like that, in like the Game Awards or whatever. They had their first trailer for it that they showed off, and it was just
Was
like,
it that long ago?
I think it was, honestly. Yeah, it was the Game Awards 5 years ago. So that would be 2019. 2018. That was when they revealed it, and then it came out like the next year after that.
Oh wow.
So it's just like I remember seeing it and just going like, oh man, this looks fucking dope or whatever. And I remember I bought it like basically instantly when it was available on the Epic Game Store, but it was only on the Epic Game Store, and it was just like, and it sat there. I mean, granted, it was still early access, so it was just like there wasn't a lot to do in it right away, and that's why I was like, I played it for a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't want to overplay it before the game comes out, type thing, because this is awesome and I love it. And then it wasn't until like years later, and then it got like the 1.0 launch, and then it got a Steam release that everyone just wanted to like went to go say it's like, oh, Hades is great, and I'm like, yeah, I've known it's been great for years. You want and it's just like, and it just feels like nobody had any inkling about it because it was on the Epic Game Store, and I was like, this is stupid. Why is that a thing?
Then you have all those weirdos that are complaining about the art style.
You always have that in any game, whether it's like it's just like, oh, the art style looks weird or funky. I don't care for it, and I go,
no, it's because incels can't beat off to it. I hate this. I hate this discussion that's been happening in the games industry because it's just overtaking all actual critical analysis.
I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. It's like no one cares about the game unless it looks good or whatever, or if it's on like the certain thing, and it's just like, why can't we just like
have honest discussions about video games?
Yeah.
Or fucking be an adult about things and just deal with shit. Don't be a fucking baby. You can download a second launcher.
Yeah. Yeah. Or my favorite thing is just like when it's just like, oh, I can't believe that like you got to pay for all these like things or whatever, and I said they're going just like, why is anyone surprised at this? It's always funny to me to think that like, oh, people like when they said like, oh, and when streaming services were becoming a thing, and granted like streaming services were different, like when Netflix was like really popping up and everyone just like, oh, this will replace like, you know, like cable TV and stuff like that, and it'll be way cheaper as a result of that. And I go, I feel like I'm paying more if I paid for every streaming service like right now, or like even just like the top like 3 or 4 or something like that. Like let's say you pay for like Disney Plus, like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and or whatever, and like Max. I don't know if I said Max already, but it was like, if you pay for just those, you're paying basically the same price as you would for cable. No one seems to have a problem with that.
No. Especially if you want to go the fucking Hulu, you know, live TV route, you're probably paying more than you are for cable.
Yeah. Honestly, probably just about as much. I don't know. Then you factor in like it's the same thing with like
if you want to go adless and shit.
Yeah, and then you want to say it's like, oh, fuck these ads or whatever. Then it's just like, oh yeah, now pay double of what you're already paying us. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, your $7 subscription? Yeah, like we want $16 of that now.
But then you're caught in the loop. You can't cancel it because then you'd realize, oh, I don't download anything. I just lost all my movies or I lost all my TV shows, so I need to resubscribe. I'm sorry, how did we get into this tangent again?
I don't remember. It's like talking about video games
the
or whatever.
Game Store or something, yeah.
Something like that. I don't really remember.
I hope people are just kind of getting used to it now. It's like I see a lot of PC people playing X Defiant, but that's only available through Ubisoft's special launcher.
I mean, here's the thing: if people really want to play a game or whatever, and it's only available through one thing, guess what? They're gonna learn to fuss up and play with it, or they'll still complain about it, but they'll also like still play it while also bad talking the thing, and then when they actually cave and get rid of it, then they still go like, I don't know. It's dumb.
I don't know. It still sucks.
It still sucks. Everything about it sucks or whatever. And I just go, it's like, look, there are bad clients or whatever, but it's just like
there are better things that you can complain about.
Yeah. It's like, guess what? You don't give them money or whatever, then they can't keep up their service. That's how you don't do that.
So overall direct out of 10, what would you give it?
Overall direct, I still say it was like, it was pretty good. Even if it was just like a lot of like HDs and like remakes and remasters or whatever. It's like I'm legitimately really excited for the Dragon Quest. As like for Dragon Quest 3. Like I've only ever played like Dragon Quest 11, and I want to play the other ones. I just like I was like, this will give me the excuse to actually play the older ones and stuff. So it's just like I am excited for that. It's like, but other than that, I thought there was like some halfway decent games or whatever that were shown off. Like the Metroid Prime 4, actually getting to see that and getting a release date for it was pretty cool.
Okay. It's coming out next year, right?
I believe so.
Man, Jeff Knightley must be pissed. It's like he had to come out and say, oh yeah, Summer's Games Fest, it's not going to be that exciting this year, not that many cool announcements. And as soon as it's over, like, both Xbox and Nintendo drop a really hype showcase.
It's what you expect.
It's what you get for charging people $100,000 a minute.
Well, there's that, and then it's also just like, it's like, oh well, clearly, like Nintendo wasn't gonna really show anything in Summer Games Fest, especially if they were already planning on doing this.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, then Microsoft's gonna, like you said, spend money on doing a bunch of other, releases, even though they're gonna do a thing like a couple days later. No, of course not. It's like, I got $100,000 for just like a little spot on that. Like, that's fucking crazy. How much is like a commercial spot for like the Super Bowl or something like that? Like, I know it's like millions of dollars as opposed to like 10,000, but it's like curious.
That's about as much as Bill Hader got offered to film an entire movie, basically.
Yeah.
Man, voice actors should go back on strike. That's bullshit. That actually makes me really upset. I can't get that out of my head.
Jesus, for a 30-second ad in the middle of the Super Bowl is roughly $7 million just for a 30-second slot. No wonder all the Super Bowl ads suck.
It cost what? You said $3 million?
$7 million. Just for the 30-second slot. That's not. Then
30-second slot.
That's for a 30-second slot. Is $7 million. Then you have to also do the ad. Like you also have to like film the ad and make sure it's 30 seconds. Dude, and just because I thought it was interesting, because I remember seeing this a couple days ago, that I saw that the U.S. apparently is filing a lawsuit against Adobe for deceiving subscriptions that are like for hard to cancel subscriptions.
Oh yeah, fuck Adobe.
Yeah, I thought this was like super interesting though, because I never thought this was going to happen, even though it should have a while back.
Well, I'm glad that it's at least happening now.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was ever going to happen either, but Adobe's been fucking over their customer base for years. Their prices are egregious, they're hard to cancel, and in their like latest update, then they say they're straight up just going to take people's work without asking, and then use it for advertising.
Mm-hmm. They absolutely did.
It's like you can only push so far before someone starts pushing back.
I just find it
Honestly,
interesting because it's like the FTC is taking legal action against it. Something I just like never thought would happen when it comes to like the United States. It's like you hear a lot of the times with like the like the European Commission or whatever. I always forget what it's called. Like doing stuff like this, but it's like, man, the FTC stepping in. He's like, that's how you know it's big.
Usually, we only focus on stupid shit like trying to get TikTok banned.
Yeah, that too. That or when the FTC says it's like, oh yeah, it's okay to not be net neutral or anything like that. Remember that whole thing. Remember that whole discussion like years ago about net neutrality.
Yeah.
God damn. And the FTC just even straight out just said it's like, oh, it's okay for internet services to prioritize certain websites over others. And I went, what are you talking about?
No, it's very much.
It's really not. I remember there was some ruling again that was just like that pretty much solidified it. I mean, granted, as long as it'll only be another couple of years before that whole thing comes up again. I can only speculate because you know all these like shitty companies always have lawyers poring over every bit of law aspects to see what bullshit they can come up with this time. Yeah, I was curious if I could find exactly what the lawsuit specifically says when it comes to Adobe, but that's locked behind a paywall, and I'm not giving New York Times like $5 or $1 just to fucking look at their shit. I'm not doing that. Yeah, it's just what you expect, like making it difficult to cancel the subscription and everything like that, and hiding terms of annual payments and paid monthly plans. Yeah, fuck Adobe, dude.
I just absolutely hate, like, apparently a full year of Photoshop cost almost $300.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that right now.
Did you ever work with like the Adobe stuff in like high school or anything like that?
College mostly, but I did. I have several books on how to use like Adobe and Photoshop. So I know how to work them fairly well. I'm not fucking paying that though.
Yeah, I took multiple classes in like high school or whatever about like with like graphic design because it was something I thought I might want to get into when I was in college, and I was just like, man, it's cool, but why does Adobe have to run everything?
A lot of programs though.
That's true. Yeah, I think my main problem was is that I'd have to work on a Mac most of the time because that's how everyone does it.
Oh, I've never worked on a Mac.
Oh, I fucking hate Macs, dude.
Macs suck. Overpriced garbage. My brother loves Apple. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I don't get it.
No. Something that I pay for yearly right now is because I have to have a personal license on top of my professional license because I can't work on personal projects using my professional account. I know it sucks, but I pay a little over $300 a year for that right now.
Whoa.
And that gets me tokens through their system. And if I run out of tokens, I need to pay another $300.
Oh man.
That's why I think it's funny. Like so many of the bigger companies. Like, did you know that like Disney and Pixar have their own like in a specialty in-house like animation software that's completely like separate from anything else?
Yeah, I did.
I think that's so great.
Yeah.
Does DreamWorks have their own like proprietary software too, or do they use like one that the shit that I have to use?
I have no idea, honestly.
Yep, it's an in-house one called Moonray apparently.
Huh. Well, I guess that's probably like just like the best way to do it when it comes to like big production companies like DreamWorks or Pixar or anything like that, or I guess
it's like Disney. Why pay this company like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a year when we could just make our own shit?
Yeah, pretty much.
We have developers. We can put this together ourselves. Why not?
Yeah, I mean that's how I do it. Honestly, it's just like why pay for these absurd things or whatever when we can just make it our own? Considering we can hire like programmers and stuff like that to basically make our own shit.
That way, we can just rely on the indie guys getting fucked over.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, fuck Adobe. All my homies hate Adobe. If you're watching this, go pirate Adobe software.
All my homies hate Adobe. I feel like you could make like a rap album like that. It's just like the album is called Fuck Adobe, and that's and all my homies hate Adobe. That's the opening song to it.
A fucking diss track on multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Hell yeah, dude.
Why not?
Dude, you make that like that like a punk record or whatever or something like that. You like people would eat that shit up. That's what they love. They love to hear the man go down. Oh, since we were talking about Apple just a little bit ago as well, I saw this is that so I didn't realize that apparently the European Union, remember the whole thing with like Apple and Epic a while back or whatever, when it comes to like, oh well, they're not Fortnite was available to be on like iPhones and stuff. Like that was a while back at this point.
Yeah.
But the European Union basically said that they like Apple and Google and have to allow like third-party companies to run like in-app stores or whatever. It was a law that was recently done. Apple still has yet to do anything about like that, about making sure that like other things like the Epic Game Store can be on like iOS and stuff like that, despite it being a law. And that if they don't follow the law, they could be paying $1 billion a day.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know when that's supposed to take effect or anything like that, but from all these reports I'm reading, it's soon.
Well, knowing Apple, they're going to try and delay that as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
But, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like $1 billion a day. Now, granted, it's Apple, and they fucking make $20 billion a day. So.
Do they?
It's last financial reports I basically said is like the average earnings for Apple on a daily income across the entire world, basically is about $20 billion a day, and I think that's a fucking absurd.
Where are they getting that money from?
I have no clue. Who the fuck keeps buying all the Apple shit? Like, and I'm not just saying it's like, oh, they put out the new iPhone every year or whatever, and people buy the iPhone or whatever. I mean, like, who goes in like one day and just like goes like, I want like the new iPhone or whatever. Then I want like an iMac the next day, and then like, do they make
Apple
iPads still?
Watch or whatever.
Yeah, the Apple Watch. And I just go, Jesus
They
Christ.
still do make iPads.
Do they really?
I don't think they're any good, but what? Yeah.
Wow.
Their newest one was like, oh, look at how fucking thin it is.
Yeah, considering
Cool.
that their whole thing with the iPhones is that look at how good the camera is. Let's ignore everything else about the phone, but the camera. You can film fucking movies on this shit. It's so good, and I go, but could you though? Could you really? Because I don't believe that for a second.
Out of curiosity, I wonder, like, let's check at the prices of some of this shit, because I'm curious. Last time we looked, it was pretty egregious. Alright, the cheapest laptop they have is about $1,600. And it is a piece of garbage that no one should use. Okay.
Dude, you want to buy the Apple Vision Pro for $35,000? For $3,500?
Oh, I bet that's where a lot of that shit is coming from. A bunch of dumb nerds driving around with Vision Pros and their dumbass Cybertrucks. People like to talk about, like, Macs because, they're so efficient. They can do so much stuff so much better than normal PCs can, right? So you would think that the Mac Pro is the thing that they're going for when they brag about that shit, right? The cheapest one is $7,000.
Yeah.
Or you can pay $600 a month for a year.
It's always crazy to me to think that like people spend this much money or whatever on like stuff, and I go, and it's just like I remember like when like especially when the like in the heart of the pandemic or whatever, it's like people were buying houses that were like quadruple if not like 6 times the price that they probably should be. And I said they're going just like, how are people buying these things or whatever? Everyone talks about how broke they are or whatever, but yet there are still people that are buying these. And I go, who are these people? Where do they get this money?
The ultra rich that benefit off of fucking over the poor.
It's crazy.
They used NFT scams and the like to scam good, hard-working people out of their money, and then they spend it on egregious shit and say that it's an investment or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's one thing if like, you're buying, a house for, a halfway decent price or whatever, but it's like I know there was like some marketplaces or whatever, and like I know like Austin, Texas was like one of them or whatever. It's like LA market is obviously absurd or whatever, and it's just like, it's like even around like here in like Madison or like it's just like, it's still like absurd the prices that are there for. It's like my grandma is like she had to move into like an assisted living place or whatever, and my family's still like trying to figure out what they want to do with my grandma's place or whatever. And it's like, it needs tuning. It needs work. It does. It's an old home that definitely needs updates. Doesn't have AC or anything like that, and it looks fine from the outside, but it definitely needs work. And it's like, and they were saying it's just like, oh yeah, it's like we could sell it for like $700,000 according to like a realtor or whatever, that they were like looking just to like get an estimate on how much they could cost for that. It's not like it's a big house or anything like that. And I was like, for 700? And I was like, man, I remember my mom telling me about it. It was like, oh yeah, if my grandparents ever wanted to move like a few years ago or whatever, like I think back in like 2018, they were thinking about moving into a different house, and they were like, oh yeah, that was only like, it's like they were thinking about putting their house in the market for $200,000 back then. So from 2018 to about 2022, I think it was, or maybe 23 or whatever, it spiked up $500,000 for no reason. And I go, that's absurd.
It's just how the market is now.
I don't understand how the hell that happens. Whatever. I don't. Just
because you got rich people and you got all these, housing.
Just remind me, I'm never going to buy a house though.
I still want to.
Yeah, I'd love to at some point in my life, but who knows if that'll happen. Maybe one day when the whole housing market crashes, because people who took out these major loans or whatever to get these houses, all crumble or whatever, and then we basically work ourselves back into another depression. Considering that's how most economic people still considering that it's just like, oh, recession's coming, but it's here. It's like, yes and no. It's like, yes, things are way more expensive because inflation is high and stupid, because even people can't understand why things are so expensive. And I go, if you live in the real world, you understand that. But it's like, there's way more to that. And I'm like, I'm not doubting there is way more to it, to why inflation is so goddamn high. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, from our perspective, we sit here going just like, yes, we're getting paid, like in theory, salaries are up higher than they ever have yet, despite we still don't have like minimum wage to an actual decent living wage or anything like that. And then like, but it's like, we've said it a bunch of times. It's like, you got these corporate asshole CEOs or whatever taking $50 million in bonuses every year, and you sit here going just like, I wonder why.
See any good movies recently?
No, I was like, you said you saw Inside Out, Inside Out 2? Or
I'm curious as to, you said you weren't crazy about the newest episode of The Acolyte. I want to know what's happening there, because all I hear are people, screaming about how terrible this show is. And I'm curious as to what the problem is with it.
Okay.
You have the inside knowledge. I'm not going to watch that shit.
In case anyone cares, spoiler warning.
Nobody cares.
That's why I said just in case anyone cares.
Yeah.
So basically, just like Star Wars Acolyte or whatever, it's just like the first 2 episodes were passable. I gave them okay grades of it, like a 6 out of 10. Not great, but not bad. Then episode 3 happens where, well, here, okay, let me just go for it. So basically, the first episode opens up with like this one girl or whatever. We find out later is May, and she goes and like she's like the assassin that's like out to kill 4 specific Jedi for reasons unknown to us at the first episode or whatever. So she's facing down the first one, Indara, and she like kills her, and like she's like, because she like shows her face and or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's you or whatever. And they're setting up this whole mystery and stuff of like, oh, well, why is like she recognizes this person or whatever. In the first episode, in the second episode, we find out that she is like a twin sister of this other girl that ended up being a Jedi at one point in time. Okay. So when she was recruited to be a Jedi or whatever, it was thought that everyone in her village or whatever had died, including her twin sister, the one that kills the Jedi in the first episode. So she gets blamed for the murder of the Jedi, but they find out later that her twin sister is actually alive. Wow, who would have thought? So they find her, they like do some stuff with it, they do some stuff, she gets away, blah blah blah, it doesn't really matter. Writing's really bad or whatever, and it's like the thing I should mention about this is that she ends up in the second episode, she kills off another one of the Jedi that apparently was stationed on, or was like not even stationed. It was like she was on like this on like where she grew up or whatever. Because like the whole thing is that there was this big engulfing fire that killed everyone in the village or whatever. And then Osha was the only survivor, but it turns out May also survived for reasons. And it was like, because it's like, oh yeah, so and it's like the Jedi that were there apparently did something so terrible. We still don't know what this is, but it's something so terrible that 2 of them kind of just left the Jedi Order. Like they conked out basically. It's like one guy went into isolation, one guy has gone into a 10-year meditative state because of what happened there. And I go, okay, why? Okay. So something happened there that we still don't know of yet. But it's fairly obvious some shit went down. It wasn't just a fire,
I guess.
So, cut to the third episode. Flashback time. Why the fuck is there a flashback? We have no fucking idea of why there's a flashback for anything or whatever. And it's like they're 2 little girls there. Guess what? Hey, guess what? The village wasn't actually a village. It's a dark Sith cult. Well, it's not a dark Sith cult or whatever. It's a alternate like witch cult basically that uses the Force, but they call it the Thread. And that's where people complain about it, because it's just like, oh, well, they're just using the Force, but they call it the Thread or whatever. And it's like, I get the reasoning with it or whatever, because they basically just tried to make like Dathomir witches again, but like different this time, and it didn't work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like they were like ousted or exiled from their main people or whatever, so people theorize that they were actually just Dathomir witches that just went over the top crazy, even though the Dathomir witches are already crazy and were exiled, so I don't know if I necessarily believe that or not. Then we find out that Osha and May were born of the Force. Yeah, like Anakin. The mother of the cult basically says, hey, I created these 2 girls and stuff like that and put them in your belly. And I sat there going just like, what? Hold on a second. Hold the fucking phone. What did you just say to me? What? So I guess anyone can just make anyone now, as long as you're dark enough, like powerful enough in the dark side of the Force. She's saying that I'm just as powerful as Palpatine was. If we subscribe to the theory that Palpatine was the main creator of Anakin or whatever, or if even if you don't subscribe to that theory, just as powerful as the Force incarnate itself, like fated destiny of the chosen one type thing. It's like now anyone can make their own chosen ones in a way, and I think it's stupid.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah. So then it's just like, that's pretty much all you really need to know from episode 3. It's like, oh, then apparently the Jedi are looked at as just like these crazy sons of bitches or whatever that like. I always find this funny. It's just like they're outsiders or whatever, and they're not like this cult is not part of the Republic, yet the Jedi still show up and just like saying it's like, oh yeah, if there's like candidates for Padawans or whatever, we have the right to test them even though we're not a part of the Republic. And it's just like, okay. And the witnesses agree to it because they don't want to get into a confrontation with the Jedi, because if they know if they do, other Jedi will come and just destroy them. And basically it's just like, right. Oh, Osha wants to come and become a Jedi. Cool. May doesn't like that because she's the dark incarnation of the Force, basically, where Osha is supposed to be the light. Or whatever. I don't know.
The idea that these two are the incarnations of the Force
is
still fucking stupid to me.
Yeah.
And so, evil girl doesn't like it because she's evil. Light side wants to be a Jedi.
Uh-huh. So what does May do in a fit of rage, and because she doesn't want her sister to be taken by the Jedi or whatever? She sets a fire.
She sets rocks on fire.
She sets rocks and metal on fire. How? I don't fucking know. But then everything goes to shit. Everyone's dead, even though it's only been like a few minutes, so clearly something else happened. We just don't know what it is yet or whatever. Because guess what? We're probably going to have another flashback told from a different perspective of the same fucking events. Yay. But the final thing that happens there is like Osha and May or whatever. It's like Osha really goes, May, what did you do? And she's like, I'm sorry. And then their little platform falls, and then Soul grabs grabs Osha and saves her. Now I want to point out, Soul in the first 2 episodes of the show said, I watched May die with my own eyes. Okay, she fell. She didn't die. She didn't watch. He didn't watch her die. There was no confirmation of body. You watched her fall. And I like how in episode 4 when they're talking about with the main council lady or whatever, talking about it's like, well, I thought you said May died or whatever, and it's like, I watched her fall, and I go, no, that's different from watching her die. It's like. Mm-hmm. It's dumb writing that's just trying to create conflict, and they just couldn't parse it, and I just went, oh my god.
I mean, this is the same Star Wars writing team that went, oh yeah, small child gets stabbed to the heart, sure they live. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Disney's Star Wars fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, none of the action scenes were like are that good either. It's like everything is just so slow and so bleh. Or whatever. But hold on, we're not done. We're not done with the shit though.
Yeah.
Okay? Because episode 4 happened today. I just got done watching this, so I'm fucking pissed off about it. Because it's bad. So it's just like they're going to go. They're now going back to where this other Jedi is that May is going to go kill, or whatever. And so they're going to try and save this like Wookiee Jedi or whatever that like pseudo left the Order. In a way. Mm-hmm. And so like May's there with like this one, she's with like some dude or whatever that like is like helping her out basically.
Yeah.
And I theorize this is Plagueis or something like that. Like it's a Sith basically. Like that's all but basically confirmed at this point in the latest episode, just because of how it ends.
All right.
And how he talks. It's just very Sith-like. So it's like, well, this isn't obvious at all. But where was I? So yeah, they're gonna go save the Wookiee guy or whatever, and so they bring like a fucking platoon of Jedi or whatever, and Osha, even though she didn't want any part of this until just this moment, where she's like, oh yeah, May was my sister, but now she's the Jedi's problem. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna go live my life until Solo comes in and is like, no, we need your help to go save May or whatever, and I go. Okay, well, I guess I'll go with you, even though I wasn't going to do that about a second ago. But I'll do it now. And she's like, I don't want to fight May or whatever because she's my sister and everything like that. And also, I don't have the power to fight her if she's killed, a Master Jedi or whatever. And she goes, well, we can definitely use you as bait, though. He doesn't actually say that, but that's definitely what's going to happen. and it's just like, and then they get to the planet or whatever. Then they do like this whole like, what feels like the hobbits running through like a forest or something like that. Like it felt like that. It really did. Like they were just like walking through a forest or whatever, and there's like the Nazgul are coming to go kill them or whatever. But the Nazgul are just these giant bugs. I like how Osha, to become one with the Force again, she just goes, I'm gonna touch this giant bug or whatever that's about to attack me a second ago. And then, literally 2 minutes later in the show, she goes up to Soul saying, hey, Soul, I can go fight May now because I can feel things now. What? 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 Huh? Now you feel confident that you can fight May because you can feel the bug now. Great. Good for you. All right, cut to May and the other dude. And she's just like, oh, because the whole thing of, like, she's an acolyte, so she's like, I have to kill at least one of these guys without using a weapon type thing. And it's just like, how are you going to do that? And she's like, oh, well, it's dumb and bullshit. I was like, clearly this is just a lesson to teach me to not believe in stuff like that, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to trap you in this trap or whatever, and I'm going to run away and turn myself into the Jedi. What? Because I'm devoted to Osha. Oh, yeah, that girl, that my sister that I tried to kill when I was young and didn't know was alive or anything like that until literally 3 hours ago in time canon. What the fuck is going on?
What the hell, dude?
All of a sudden, everyone's taking a flip or whatever, so she, like, because she trapped the dude or whatever in, like, this, like, stupid hanging trap or whatever, got him tied upside down by his leg, or whatever. She goes to, like, the one Wookiee Jedi and was going to, like, turn herself in. And then he turns around and it's like, oh, he's already dead, and he's got a, lightsaber right through his chest or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, the Sith Master's here. He's going to kill me because I didn't do this thing or whatever, and I'm going to turn against him. And then the episode ends with the scene from the trailers where all the Jedi are standing there, and the Sith walks up and just, like, turns on his lightsaber and just pushes them all back, and that's how the episode ends. God, what a fucking shit show. Nothing makes sense. The turns make absolutely no sense. The writing is terrible. The characters are unlikable and at every stretch of the imagination, basically. No one has any inclination of what's going on. The story is so convoluted at this point that it doesn't make any fucking sense. Everything is happening so fucking fast. I don't understand it. Like, what the fuck? There's only ever been one time in my life where I've, like, just straight up went, what the fuck? In the middle of the show. Was during fucking, like, Genlock Season 2 when, like, the one girl, like, kills herself because she was upset that she didn't, like, do anything right. And I went, wow, that's not her character at all. What the fuck is that about? So yeah, that's Star Wars Acolyte for you.
Wow.
We're halfway through the season. Or the show. It can't be over fast enough. Ugh.
This sucks.
It fucking sucks, dude. Like, somehow Disney decided, oh yeah, let's see if we can beat out the Star Wars Christmas special, and they fucking did.
How Disney is taking great franchises like fucking Marvel and Star Wars and doing this with them.
It's wild. It's
figured like it's Star Wars, so people will like it anyway.
Pretty much.
It's Marvel, so people will like it no matter what we do.
I mean, wasn't that the whole thing when they first bought Star Wars or whatever, when they made their original their trilogy or whatever with 7, 8, 9? Because they like, oh, let's not go in with a plan. It's Star Wars. We'll figure it out, type thing or whatever. whatever. People will just buy it because it's Star Wars. And I go, and it's so crazy to me as well, because it's just like, once after the shit show that was the Disney trilogy or whatever, and it's like, it's like everyone, shat on Solo. I didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad.
I liked it more than I liked the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, there's a lot I put over Rise of Skywalker, but it's like, it's just crazy to me. It's just like, oh, ever since that point, like Disney's been doing like more like they did like Mandalorian or whatever. They made a bunch of shows or whatever, and there's like a bunch of animated shows that are also very good. And he said they're going just like, and now it seems like everything's just kind of going down the tube again. And it's like, what the fuck happened? It's like, yeah, it's so good.
You had a good thing for a while there.
It's like, Disney, I'm telling you right now, just anything Star Wars, just let Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau handle it, because they know what the fuck they're doing. Or at least they make it entertaining.
What's up next for like Marvel movies that are coming out?
Deadpool and Wolverine, I guess.
I mean, I'd be like after that.
I don't fucking know. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
I feel like they haven't announced anything, and it's just weird.
I mean, I remember they put out like all the movies they're planning on doing for like stage 4 or 5 or whatever it is at this point, 6. I don't give a fuck what it is, but it's like for the recent future. But apparently, because things have changed so drastically, they've had to alter that plan drastically as well.
So, do they even have a plan anymore?
Probably not. Probably just winging it as they go. If I just had to, think about that for a second. So Phase 4, the last movie was Thor: Love and Thunder. It was like wasn't the Marvels like the last?
Yet?
Wasn't that like the last like MCU movie?
Apparently, like.
God, what a great movie that was! I'm sure I didn't hear anything about it, so I assume it wasn't that great.
I heard it was the most.
Don't surprise me.
Flat, uninteresting movie of all time.
Oh yeah.
So next, apparently, we're getting a new Blade movie. I guess. I don't know what the hell Ironheart is.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's the new Iron Man. Sure, why not?
I don't know.
So who's Agatha?
This is where it's like, the thing. The whole thing is like what Marvel was like. Oh, the Marvel movies were a good introduction to what like comic books are, basically. And it's like now we've gone past that point. Now it's like, oh, we have to be deep into the comic books to really understand all these references now. And I go, there's not a lot of people that are.
Well, I guess you also need to watch, like, the problem is you need to watch their bullshit television shows. And I'm putting this out there, I'm not gonna fucking do that. I don't care. There are some people that are like, oh yeah, you can get through one in a day or whatever. It won't take that long. And it's like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I don't want to spend all day watching a show that I'm not interested in. I don't give a fuck if WandaVision's any good. I don't care if Loki's any good. I don't want to fucking watch those shows. Apparently Agatha's a character in fucking WandaVision or something. Cool. She's getting her own movie, whatever. So after that is Daredevil. That? Okay. Huh. Daredevil Born Again, apparently, is what it's called. After that, it's a new Captain America movie. Then the Thunderbolts.
Disney, I'm petitioning you right now. Just kill off the MCU like DC did, and then like come back in like 5 years, and everyone will love you again. I'm sure.
Well, I was arguing with somebody about this, where I was like, yeah, they should just, restart things, come back with all the characters and heroes like people actually give a fuck about. And he was like, well, no, they're already so far into it. There's a lot of people that are still into the MCU, and I'm just putting this out there. Most of it sucks.
you ever hear the sunk cost fallacy? Where it's like, oh, you've sank in so much time and money and effort into this that it's just like it's not like there's no reason to just give it up now. It's like no, trust me, there's a reason. Like just don't keep investing in something you don't like or whatever at this point, or no one even likes it. Not many like at this point, or you don't really have any idea what you're doing at this point. It's like I don't doubt that people still like there are still people who like want to believe that Marvel will turn around and like do well and do good, but it's like I sit here just going like, just take a break, man. like take 5 years off. Really think this out. Really think it through. Maybe even like get like the first couple movies into production or something like that. Once you do have a plan going forward, and just start over. Like I don't even care if you do. I don't even care if I don't think anyone would even care if you even did the whole Thanos like Endgame all over again.
Not really, no. I think where Marvel really went wrong is the incorporation of the TV shows, because it's like what if I wanted to do, and what if I wanted to watch, keep up with the Marvel timeline. I would go back and watch like the last couple movies that I may have missed. Well, no, I need to watch like 7 seasons of whatever bullshit TV shows they put out. It's like I don't. It's like, oh yeah, you'll know who Agatha is if you watch this, and this, and it's like, cool, bro. I don't know who she is now. I have no reason to give a fuck about her. I don't know who the Thunderbolts are. I have no reason to give a fuck about them.
Well, I look at it as like I don't disagree with your assessment. I do think that is partially and probably a main reason why, but at the same time, it's like the whole thing with the MCU, like leading up to this point, leading up to Endgame. That's why it's called Endgame. Like this is the end. Like this is where how they wanted to probably finish it. Like before they were like before like they built like how like it's like they always talk about how like sometimes TV shows run for way too long and then like oftentimes they just end up falling flat on their face because they just keep running for so fucking long.
Yeah. It's
like I think that's kind of what happened with it's kind of happening with Marvel right now. It's like they had the perfect like everyone always talks about the perfect like TV show length is like 5 seasons. Once you have 5 seasons or whatever, it's usually like you have point A to point B in 5 seasons. Then you end it there because that'll be the perfect length of time to tell a story and get your point across and everything like that, and just call it quits. Like you could keep making things for 20 plus seasons if you wanted to or whatever. I'm sure,
but it will eventually fall off if you don't have good ideas. Then
exactly,
shit's gonna go downhill quick. I think another thing is like, leading up until like that phase of Marvel, they had a plan with Thanos.
Oh, absolutely.
They had a set like, okay, this is the end game and this is what's going to lead up to it. With like phase 4 and 5, they just kind of rushed straight into it without really thinking about what what's at the end. What's the end game here? I get for a while they were going to introduce like the Kang Dynasty and Quantum Mania, and then it's like, oh well, this guy did this, so we can't do that anymore, and they need to quickly figure things out. But it's like that wasn't introduced until Quantumania. We had all of these movies where we were just sitting around thinking, okay, well, what's going to come next? Like, what is this building towards? We just got past like the biggest event in this series history, and now we're confused as to what we're supposed to look forward to. And I'm looking at a lot of this stuff, and it's like, I don't have any reason to give a fuck about most of it.
No. Yeah.
It's like, and you think about, like, the series leading up to Thanos, every single phase ended with an Avengers movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single one ended with, like, there was Avengers, there was the Age of Ultron, then eventually there was Infinity War. We haven't really had that for a while. It's like, I'm looking at phase 5, and apparently it's going to end with the Thunderbolts, which has the most unexciting like group of heroes ever. Like I think the only person I recognize is that one fuck from the Black Widow movie, and I guess that's Moon Knight or Taskmaster. There, it's what is even happening?
This is what I'm saying. Is they went too deep into the comics, and now we're getting to like They did all the good shit, and now it's all the bad shit that like nobody like. Why is this a thing? All right, like, I guess because they had to fill an episode for a week in the comic. I don't know. It's fine.
Like Phase 4 ended with fucking Love and Thunder of all things.
Yikes.
What are we even doing anymore, man?
Yeah, it's just making movies for the sake of money, rather than like caring.
Yeah, I definitely do think the people that are like hardcore. Well, no, Disney needs to stick with it. Keep going with the MCU.
You also got to get people who
Why?
give a shit about like the thing they're making. Like it's like you can look at it like it's like part of the reason why like everyone really loved like Iron Man. Like they loved Robert Downey Jr. mainly because he's coming off at like the lowest part of his life basically with like all the drug and alcohol addiction and everything like that leading up to Iron Man or whatever, and then he got clean for the Iron Man and everything like that, and then everyone just loved him again. And it's like, and he loved playing Iron Man. Like it was like basically Tony Stark kind of felt like him in a way.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you could say the same thing with like Chris Evans and like Captain America and everything like that. And it's just like you just feels like that nobody has that like kind of like passion
Charisma.
for a character, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's just like from the outside,
No,
from watching the movies, it's like maybe they are, but it's like it's not coming off that way.
I think what also I think you suggested something that I think would be a really real problem if Marvel decided, okay, let's just take a step back. Let's introduce this new separate universe or whatever and have movies set in there. It's like, what are you going to do? Have a different actor playing Iron Man? Have another actor playing Captain America?
I mean, if they wanted to basically reboot it, yeah, I say you could.
I don't know. I think it'd be difficult because so many people...
I mean, yeah, it'd be difficult because everyone's so used to seeing Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. But at the same time, It's like, we're not going to have that for forever. And I don't know. It's just like...
Marvel's in this weird spot where it's like, okay, well, I guess we're kind of damned if we do it and damned if we don't. In a weird way, it's like, you guys had a good thing going for a while. It's kind of over. And you guys stretching it out until this embarrassing endgame that has no end in sight and is constantly losing viewership is not helping you at all.
Yeah. Do I always find it funny as like everyone always talks about like the quote from like I think it's like Endgame when like Thanos is like sitting there waiting for like Iron Man and Captain America and Thor to like talk to him or whatever, and he goes, "You guys couldn't live with your failures, so where did that lead you? Coming right back to me." And I go, "Boy, that's looking more and more true to this moment."
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you guys can't live with your failures, so let's just do it all over again? Sure, why not? Oh, man.
They're already going to recast Iron Man as like this Ironheart person. They already did that with Captain America. I guess they could just restart things if they really wanted to.
Well, that's why I say it's like I really do think that like you should take 5 like Disney should get in there or whatever, or have like the Marvel people like literally just like actually hire like writers, actually hire people to like do stuff or whatever. And I know this will never happen in the history of the world, but like
no.
But if they were serious about wanting to revive the MCU to like get it back to the point where it was back before Endgame and stuff like that, was like it's just like get people in a room, get some of the best writers you can, get them in a room for like however long it takes, basically. Figure out a strategy, figure out a plan. Like it's just like, all right, we'll start with this. We'll start with like the rebuilding of the whole MCU, like just redo it all as a whole, and it ends with like either Endgame or whatever villain, if they decide to do Thanos or whatever, all over again, type thing. It's like, all right, now let's figure out each and every point going forward, and like with like what kind of movie or whatever, like who's the hero, who's the villain, type thing, that kind of thing. and it's like, and then we can figure out the whole plot of the thing going forward once we have the hero villain, and like conflict, kind of whole thing or whatever, and then just take like 5 years to cast, at least your first couple movies or whatever, and like make sure, and then like lock them down for however long you will need to do this or whatever, and then once you have that set, film the first couple movies or whatever, and then once they're done or whatever, then just constantly like stay ahead and just like, and then every like year like release at least one or two. Like just restart after like once it's kind of like lost everyone like kind of lost everyone's mindset or whatever. That'll never happen in the history of the world, because why would they just stop making Marvel stuff just to figure out in like 5 years to then redo it again? But that's just me.
I mean, they wouldn't wait 5 years. I wonder how they would announce that to the public. It's like, oh yeah, the MCU's not really pulling people like it used to, so we're just going to start over again.
We're going to take like 2 years and figure out what we're going to do with it, basically, and like and we'll see in 2 years or something like that.
That wouldn't happen. I would give it. I would say they would wait maybe a couple months.
I know,
like maybe a year. Tops.
But if you wanted to figure every little minute detail out, or maybe not every minute detail, but all like the big things, like the like everything going forward there, everything you need to really plan this stuff out, I think that's how long you, like, if you were really confident, like you take like maybe like 6 months to do that, and then you can spend like the first year and a half like making the first movie and stuff like that, and just go from there. I would also just say it's like just give it some time, just so that way people can just go like, oh man, I miss Marvel, I miss the MCU and stuff like that, and then just bring it back, and it's just like, considering that's how basically everyone does it now. It's just like, oh man, it's like, remember that thing? Oh hey, look, it's coming back. Whoa. Remember that Choco Taco? It's still going to come back one of these days.
Is it actually?
Probably.
I hope so. I miss the Choco Taco. I mean, we somehow haven't gotten a Back to the Future reboot yet.
Dude, I know, right?
Thank the gods. We've gotten a billion fucking Ghostbusters movies since then, but...
Like, I feel like for all, like, the movies, the 90s movies that have been, like, remade over the past few years, like the Terminator and, like, fucking Rambo, and, like, it's, like, we even got, like, a new, Top Gun or whatever, although I've heard that one was actually good.
Maverick was fantastic.
So it's just, like, out of all the 90s ones, that one's the only one I ever heard was good. So I was just like,
thank God that they've spared fucking Back to the Future and E.T.
Could you imagine that one day when they make Back to the Future again or whatever, it's like, and all like and then it's just like, man, I really thought we were gonna have like hoverboards or whatever. Was that Back to the Future that predicted that like we were gonna have like hoverboards at like 2023 or something like that?
Hoverboards and flying cars.
Yeah. It's like, man, I can't believe we're not there yet. Instead, they got these stupid-ass Cybertrucks.
It very much presented an idealistic version of the future. And I mean, that is just not the direction that we're heading in.
Wasn't that like the 90s like cartoons or whatever, like the Jetsons and stuff like that? Do you remember that old cartoon?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh yeah, we're all going to have like flying cars that like fold into like suitcases and like
robot assistants
and a bunch of other shit that I can't remember, but it was just like that's the future, and I go, we are so far off from that.
Electric dog polishers and people movers and
it's funny to think that we're closer to the Wall-E world than we are to the Jetsons.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is scary. I mean, everyone's already glued to their screens anyway, so why as well, right?
The fact that out of all the animated like visions of the future that we're the closest to, that it's fucking Wall-E that got it the closest.
That's not reassuring. It was like all of a sudden Disney's gonna buy. It would be really funny if it was Disney. It just makes like the big ass ship that we're all just like stuck on for hundreds of years and it's flying around in outer space, and they're just basically a big and large.
It's the next version, like
step up from the Disney cruise.
Yeah,
You went on the ocean. Now you can go to space.
Look, you know whenever however fucking long it will be into the future that when we finally figure out space travel and people can go to the moon or the Mars or some shit or whatever, and it's that we're gonna have cruises that it's oh, go visit around Uranus and stuff like that.
Dude, and eventually when we do the Dwight thing does happen and we all have to live in outer space.
No, that'll probably happen.
Fucking, there's going to be all these different companies that have their own spaceships, and then
each company will have their own planet. You'll have the Disney planet is Mars, and then somebody will have the moon or whatever. It'll probably be Walmart or something like that.
No, we're never going to inhabit those planets. I'm calling that right now. People think we're going to set up bases on Mars and shit. Never going to happen.
I mean, it's so uninhabitable for humans that it's just there's no way
to sustain that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
No, we're gonna have to learn deep space travel if we want to find a planet that could actually host us.
Even then, we know enough about deep space planets to know we may be just kind of fucked.
Yeah.
We've seen deep space planets where this could possibly inhabit humans if we did all this stuff to make it habitable for people. There's this one planet that's might be habitable, but it doesn't rotate, so people would only be able to exist on the equator of that planet.
Huh. That's interesting. I didn't realize that was a thing that planets could do. Huh.
No, it's really cool, actually.
Man, space, why you gotta be so cool?
I don't know. I think it... Okay, alright, I think it does rotate, but the one face always faces the sun. So one face of the planet is extremely hot and uninhabitable, and the other half is extremely cold and uninhabitable. But that one strip at the top and the bottom, you can live there.
Imagine we would inhabit that planet, right? And then it's just but we would want to rotate it, so we'd put we'd stick a thruster on it that would rotate it manually or something like that, rather than it just doing it naturally. It'd be weird.
What's that one movie the Chinese movie where they hook a bunch of thrusters to the planet Earth and they fly that to other galaxies?
I know what you're talking about, but I have no idea what it's called.
I don't remember what it's called either, but it was a good movie. But why not just do that then? If we already have the technology to make that to do shit like that, we could build our own star. Who gives a fuck at that point?
We'll build our own Death Star and I'll live on that. Oh wait, what?
In terms of deep space travel, it's just so not feasible, though. The grim reality is, this is it. This is our planet. This is what we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to just fuck this planet over until it eventually is drained of all its resources. No, we have to make this work.
Yeah, we kind of got to make this work, bro, if we want to, be able to, survive here for... at least until the sun blows up or something like that.
Yeah, it can't be a scenario where it's all the Republicans are going to move up over to Mars and this will be the liberal planet or whatever. This is it. We may have the Wall-E situation where we just have to live on space cruises made by Apple, Microsoft, and Disney.
Nope, don't want that.
Man, I'm so scared for the next generation.
I mean, I'm so glad I'm not going to be around to see that happen.
Yeah, I'm glad. I feel terrible, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be doing something.
I mean, that's always the case, though. It's just you're shit, what the hell am I going to do, right?
Do I just call up a Disney representative? Don't build a spaceship!
Don't build the Death Star! Please, Vader! I'm begging you! Disney, please! Don't build that Death Star!
It's just like the customer support person is on the other line is just like, what? Don't do it! No!
I've seen like
I've seen Wally. I know what you're gonna do.
Imagine this is like a prank. Imagine this is like a prank or something like that. It's like you call Disney. It's like, hey, I'm from the future. I know you guys build the Death Star. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. I've seen the future, man.
Dude, we can be the next fucking InfoWars. Being like, Microsoft's gonna build spaceships.
And Disney's gonna brainwash y'all with your brains. And they're gonna turn all the freaking frogs gay.
They have gay rays!
Gay frogs!
Gay frogs on the Death Star!
The Death Star! It's coming for you, man! The Force! Am I right? It's gonna turn all the frogs gay! What a stupid bit.
I How did we get here?
I don't fucking know.
Oh my god.
It's great, though. This is prime. Oh, man. I feel like it'd be so easy to be like the next InfoWars, though.
China's gonna build a spaceship, and they're gonna conquer Mars, and then Disney's gonna go to war with them.
Yeah, and all those liberals, they want to turn everyone into women and stuff like that. Come on now. Don't do that.
They're going to make Mars the gay planet.
They're going to make Mars the gay planet, whereas here on Earth, here's where the good shit goes on. And now, buy this lotion so that way we can make this world a better place.
America Sabers.
America. Fuck yeah.
If we don't nuke Mercury, I don't know what we're going to do. That's the only way to save the United States.
Do you think Jeff Bezos is like secretly making his own like spaceship right now, so he can like fly off to? Yeah.
I mean, he's
somewhere.
already been to he's already been to space.
But
once.
like, what if he has like a secret like hidden spaceship or whatever that he's been building for like 20 years now, so that way he can just live in space. Like if we heard like a news report tomorrow that he has like a secret spaceship that he's been building for 20 years, like would you be surprised?
No, it would be really fucking funny though, because I would bet you any amount of money that ends up like one of those submarines that tries to visit the fucking Titanic, where it's like some hacker.
They'll have like a Mad Catz like controller piloting it.
Like some hacker somehow gets into it immediately within minutes of it getting into space, being like, okay, I'm going to redirect you to fly into the sun.
Oh, God.
That would be so fucking funny.
It would be.
It would be.
Oh,
Imagine
man.
the meme potential.
Imagine the meme.
That sounds so bad.
Oh, it's so bad, but it's so funny at the same time. It's like everyone, with the whole. Remember that whole the whole sub thing or whatever? It's like, yeah, it was like funny because it's like, but it's just like people also died, so it really wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just like you hear like how the whole rig and everything like that, and like how it was built and like how it was piloted, and you go, what the fuck? People thought this was a good idea to travel to the bottom of the ocean with this thing? Like what?
Y'all motherfuckers are dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh, but you're making it so easy.
It really is. Anyway. Oh, man. What a time.
Something I was gonna mention. So I did watch Inside Out 2.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, that's a hell of a
That was
transition.
about a half hour ago.
Disney's gonna build the Death Star and shoot people with a gay beam. Also, Inside Out 2 was really good. So, I'm waiting because I'm not sure if you're still laughing or
Oh,
not.
no,
Okay.
I'm good.
I figured it was just gonna be like turning red, but with Inside Out.
It's the same general premise, but it's also kind of the same. I don't know. I thought it was good. It's fine. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a movie I think everyone kind of expected to be good, and it was good. What
It's
a
like
surprise.
I think that Pixar does a really good job of just like making like even like movies like I feel like a lot of people like memed Elemental or whatever, but it's like I still watched
Yeah.
that and it was actually really good.
I mean, yeah, I think people were like overly harsh on that movie, but you know, at a certain point, like at least some of these movies are for kids. You know,
Yeah.
not all of these are going to be like also adult oriented. They're gonna have some kids movies. Who gives a fuck?
It's just like
Besides, I did hear it was really good. Yeah.
and it was also I don't know if I'd necessarily call Elementals for kids. I mean, it is and isn't. it's the Pixar like version of for kids.
Now I'm curious. Okay.
It's like honestly, it's like if you haven't watched Elemental, go watch Elemental. It's very good. It's just like there
I
are
still haven't
heavy
watched-
elements of racism in there, and just like yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
because like
So
the movie begins with like the fire people like it's like Element City or whatever where all the elements kind of live or whatever, but it's like clear that when you get there that the fire people are kind of looked at like the weird people that are just like I don't understand your language type thing, so you're gonna be called Bernie and your wife is gonna be called Cinder because I can't understand what you're saying type thing or whatever. And it's like clearly that everyone like in like within like the first like 5 minutes or whatever, it's like they're like Bernie and Cinder are like trying to find like a place to live or whatever, so they go to like these landlords or whatever to get an apartment or whatever, and everyone just kind of like shuts the door. It's like after they see their fire, basically.
yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's a hard immigrant story, basically that's kind of going on here. Because it's just like they settle down in like a little shack or whatever, and then they make it into like this fire like heritage shop basically, where like a lot of like fire people candy and like goods are sold or whatever, and that kind of becomes fire place in like this like basically the slums of Element City that's cut off from basically other elements, and they're basically segregated. And I went, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
it was
sounds
like
pretty interesting.
yeah, it's like honestly, go watch it. It is really good though.
So, I just want to put this out there. So I like owning my movies, right?
Uh-huh.
I looked at the price of Elemental on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, to get this movie in 4K, it costs $40 fucking dollars.
Jesus Christ, really?
$40. It's not because it's new either. Like Dune Part 2 is only 30.
Huh.
Hell, and Kanto isn't all that old, and so only 15.
I mean, I just see like the base DVD for like 24. I mean, if you want
want it in
4K, yeah, it's $40, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, how much is like the Blu-ray then? I'll just
Blu-ray is 18.
no. I'll tell you what. I'll watch Elemental. Do you still have your Disney Plus subscription?
Yeah, you can borrow the account or whatever just to go watch it.
Cool. I'll just watch it that way. Absolutely fucking not. No, not gonna happen. I don't care how good the movie is.
Real fast, this is kind of off topic, but did Disney
Yeah.
did Disney put like Soul into theaters? Didn't they?
It was one of those.
like a theatrical cut for it.
It was one of those movies that they did release back into theaters for a little while, but it failed because.
I mean, it wasn't new. It wasn't a new movie at that point. People had already seen it.
Disney, the way that Disney fumbled both Soul and Turning Red, I will never forgive them for.
Oh yeah,
because those two movies,
Soul and Turning Red were so good.
Because those movies, I'm watching Soul tonight. I've never seen it.
Oh really?
Nope. I'm
you'll love
really
it.
excited.
You'll
Yeah.
love it.
So, the way they fumbled those movies, I will never forgive them for because they just dumped them on a streaming service and like, I I pray they don't look at them like as if these movies are failures.
Oh, no, they're great.
Because they're so good, and everybody that's seen them loves them. I've never met a single person that said they didn't enjoy like Soul or Turning Red before.
Oh yeah, they're like both those movies are great. I remember I signed up for like a month of Disney Plus just to watch it because I was just like I heard people like say it was like super good or whatever, and I was just like hell yeah. I was like it's like jazz and whatever, and I was just like hell yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Soul in 4K is only $12, and not $40. I get I'm LARPing, but fuck whoever priced Elemental that high.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Don't pay $40 for the 4K. Oh boy.
But yeah, it was good. 9 out of 10. Go watch it. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, definitely should. Real fast,
Heroes.
I was like, are you excited for like the Beetlejuice movie that comes out like later this summer?
Not really. Why?
I was just curious because people, I've heard people say it's like, oh, Beetlejuice is gonna be so good, and I'm just like, I'll be honest with you, I've never actually watched the first Beetlejuice movie.
I mean, it's good. It's a classic, but I don't know. The problem I have is that it's just like a sequel to a movie that really doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt about it. I was thinking about it myself. Is like, did it need a sequel?
So I hope it's good, but I'm very much getting Toy Story 4 vibes, where it's like, man, you didn't need to do this, but you did. Man, and we're getting a 5th movie now.
Yeah, I was like, wasn't there reports that they're working on Toy Story 5 right now?
Yeah, I think it's about Woody trying to find, Andy because Andy's having a kid or something like that. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Are we ever going to get another Fantastic Beasts sequel?
No.
Or are we just done?
I think they're
Dumbledore was
probably
that
just done with
garbage.
it.
Okay.
If
I'm
I
cool
had
with
to
that.
guess, because it's like the last movie was not good, and all the stuff with what's his face, it's like Ezra something. What was his name? The guy who plays the Flash.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, Ezra, and all the shit with like Ezra Miller, considering he's like Credence or whatever.
Was he? Oh, he was.
Yeah, he's the actor for the character Credence, who's very important when it comes to the story of that thing. So it's like, if they did, they'd have to recast it. But I was like, considering the third Fantastic Beasts didn't really make money, I would bet you they're probably just done with it.
Because most of those movies are trash.
I was like, yeah, the first one was good, and the second one was okay, and then the third was, it was bad. It was bad. Stinks. I'm always very curious of like, well, clearly they're not going to give up on like the Wizarding World or Harry Potter or anything like that. So it's like, what are they going to do next with it?
I mean, they're making a Harry Potter TV show on HBO Max.
Are they really?
Yeah.
What the fucking shit?
I haven't heard about that in the longest time, but I know that's a thing. So they're just going to retell the Harry Potter books again.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now. God, it's so fucking stupid.
I heard that WB is going to try and buy the Harry Potter license away from J.K. Rowling. Which I'm all for. Fuck J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll actually give a shit about Harry Potter again, I guess. It's part of the reason why I don't give a shit about like anything in.
Because the new shit that she writes is garbage.
Well, it's just like I don't want to support the crazy bitch.
Yeah. Okay, so when the fuck is this coming out? It's coming out in 2 years.
Yeah, it's just 2026 here, so it'll be a while.
So I guess we're just kind of dry on Harry Potter until then.
I guess.
Did they announce a new Harry Potter video? Oh yeah, the Quidditch game.
Yeah, the Quidditch game or whatever that we talked about last week that I was so excited for.
Are they gonna make another Hogwarts Legacy?
I'm sure they'll make it. They'll make it a live service thing or something like that. I'm sure.
Yeah. On top of the other Harry Potter live service.
Dude, WB just wants to make a bunch of live service games anyway, so why the fuck not? Because they don't think making like single player games is worth it anymore or anything like that. It's too much of a risk, and I go, is it though? Is it? Because it feels like the multiplayer live service games are more risky than anything else.
Because if those fail, you got to keep supporting them.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh, you say a month in or whatever. Oh, we don't have the player base. We're canceling right now. It's like, okay, well, give me my money back. Well, we spent years making this, and we had to pay like all the devs and everything like that to make it. And I was like, I don't care. You killed it in under a month.
Yeah,
like, sucks. Give me my fucking refund, bro. That's why you can't really do that.
Then they shut it down in like 2 years because, it's garbage and no one's playing it. And then all the people that did buy it are like, well, what the fuck? I paid full price for this too.
Dude, I can't wait for in like a year or something like that for multiverses to like just be to just be like shit. And nobody plays it anymore.
Shit.
I know, but it's like and nobody will play it and they'll shut it down or whatever after being re-released again.
Man, that sounds really nice, actually.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Whenever Xbox or PlayStation make their platform fighter, that'll put multiverses out of business, basically.
Do you think that for the Switch 2 that Nintendo will make like a Smash Brothers game?
They will.
God damn.
They'll make it without Sakurai. So
yeah, I was like, they're gonna do it without Sakurai, then, aren't they?
Yeah, it's gonna be iffy on whether or not it's gonna be any fucking good, but they're still gonna make it.
Yeah, that is true. Considering I feel like Sakurai was the main reason why that game, that like the Smash games were so good for so long.
He probably was, yeah.
I was like, it's like the way he talked about like characters and everything like that. Whenever he would like show off the recent character, like the new characters or whatever, it's like you could tell like he just like he thought about this for so long and like how to make the characters unique and how to make them interesting as well as exciting and competitive. Like he thought about everything through and like did it all, and it was just like, hell yeah.
I will give Nintendo this though. They are not known for releasing half-baked shit.
That is true.
When they release something, it's usually at least decent, and it's a fully like fulfilled vision, I think. So I think whoever they have coming in to replace Sakurai, or whoever ends up making the next Smash game, I do think like a legitimate effort is going to be put behind it.
Yeah. I hope they put in the effort like Sakurai did. Like that's really all I want. Even if the first couple characters aren't like that great or whatever, or like maybe they're like not quite there, but it's like if they get there, like if you can feel like the effort and like and stuff like that, it's like I'm okay with it.
Just get someone to like honor that legacy, and with every franchise that's not Pokemon, Nintendo's really good at that.
Not wrong. It's like I feel like Scarlet and Violet was like the first like half-baked like game that like I've ever seen Nintendo really put out.
Yeah.
Like ones that would just like have like either immersion breaking or sometimes game breaking bugs in them, and it was just like, wow, this is probably the buggiest game I've ever seen Nintendo put out. Which is saying something, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank y'all so much for listening to the ramblings of this and stuff. We went off the rails earlier. Don't worry about that.
It was great.
But be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast and keep up to date with this shit. And be sure to follow everybody over there. Yeah, be sure to follow anyone. Like we got all links are down in the description below or whatever. I'm trying to make YouTube videos again. I put out 2 videos this week, and I'm actually pretty excited about that. So,
ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to try and do that, and hopefully get to a streaming at least once a week. That's my hope. That's my hope. Anyway, so be sure to check those out. That's also in the description or whatever to YouTube or whatever. So yeah, we will see you all next time. Bye bye.
Peace.